Good evening, all. So today, the conversation is on animal slaughter and religion, right? Animal slaughter and religion, or lack of religion thereof, right? Animal slaughter and religion, or lack of your religion at all, right? Because to me, religion is supposed to promote things positive, things that are beneficial to our well-being, right? Things that are positive, things that are beneficial, not positive only, but beneficial to our well-being, right? That's supposed to be the point. That is supposed to be the point of religion, the purpose of religion, to promote those things that are beneficial to our well-being, right? So we're talking about animal slaughter as being um, a ritual sacrifice in certain religions, right? Whatever the religion be, and why this is a thing and why it should continue as a ritual sacrifice, right? Why should animal sacrifice be a ritual for certain events, certain occasions, right? Or even in a normal Sunday service ceremony, or to attain some material wealth, or to attain something that you want, right? In this worldly affair, in the affairs of the world, right? Why must you kill an animal to basically what? Get what you want, right? Or a person for that matter. But that's a topic for another day, right? Human sacrifice. I don't even know if I want to delve into that, right? But we're talking about an animal sacrifice as a ritual for religion, right? And why must this be a necessity to basically get what you want, right? Or as a necessity to say you are doing this in the name of God, right? Because when you sacrifice these things, one must question, and I encourage people to question. Don't even take what I say, right? Question everything, right? Question it all, right? Don't even take these things why I say as ultimate, right? Think about it for yourself, right? Just sit and think about it, right? Why must you sacrifice, as in kill another being to basically get what you want, right? um it's just thinking about things using from a heart space rather than from a adopting tradition perspective. Now, tradition is something that's hard to break, is hard to get out of, especially when it comes to something like religion, especially when it comes to something as religion, right? Something as simple as religious music or something is like it's a lot of trouble to break out of if you want to break out of that, right? So that being said, I want to just say something that these videos are not, as you all see, I don't have much views on YouTube and stuff, but these videos is not targeted for the world, because I know the world is not ready to hear this, right? Or to adopt these philosophies and so on, right? So it's really intended to reach the one or two people who want to, right? Not who I want to change, the persons who want to change, right? And come out of that ritual sacrifice, events, ceremonies, whatever it is, what you call it, that whoever might be trapped within that system of belief and you want to come out of it. Right? So it's not about me trying to influence or manipulate or say, hey, you should, or control, or say, hey, you should do this, you should not do that, right? It is about reaching those people, whoever have the consciousness within their hearts, right? To say, hey, I want to make this change, right? I want to make this change, right? That's all. That's all it is. Because I don't want to be like, hey, this is what you should do, right? That's not where I'm coming from. I'm here to give the information, and you, for yourself, decide whether or not you want to take it or not, right? And that's an honest statement. Of course, I would like everybody to be vegetarian. I would like that, right? But that is not something that is feasible. That is not something that is practical, at least not at this point in time, right? So the desire is not there to necessarily force change upon anybody. It is you live your life, you reap the consequences of what you sow, and by consequence you learn, right? That's as simple as life goes. That's as simple as life gets, right? um so we're talking about why is this a necessary thing, right? um and how is it that people within their heart space could find it in their heart to do this and say it is in the name of God, right? God as in the supreme being, right? Because there are different forces out there, and it's the question now. When I say question everything, question whether these sacrifices really go to God or is really another force that these sacrifices going to, because it's blood sacrifices at the end of the day, right? It's blood sacrifice at the end of the day. So it's to question whether which side do you want to really be on when it comes to celebrating these events, occasions, Sunday services, whatever, right? So I am not saying anything is necessarily wrong with your regular religious practice, and because there's a lot of benefit in those practices. But I'm just telling people to question, hey, is this something that I want to continue being a part of, or is it something that I want to extract myself from? So it's just to reach one or two people, right, in my sphere of influence, not to change them, but to have them question, do I want to be part of this? Do I want to continue this tradition? Do I not want to continue this tradition? Right? Do I want to continue that tradition, or do I not want to continue that tradition? Right? Because I just started watching a video and I couldn't even get past like a couple minutes into the video about that animal sacrifice in the name of God situation, right? So that's basically it, right? It is as simple as that. It's no rocket science. There's nothing to put no big set of effort into in terms of communicating this information. There's nothing to put a big set of effort in communicating this information to tell people to question whether you want to be part of the tradition of continuing that in your way of life, or do you not want to be part of the tradition in continuing that way of life, right? And question, hey, when I would I you would I, meaning asking yourself, would you yourself personally go and commit that sacrifice, right? Would you take it upon yourself, or are you depending on somebody else to do it? And question and all, whose responsibility or whose accountability that falls under, right? Who takes accountability for that, right? Who takes accountability for that when you consume that which somebody else sacrificed in the name of God, right? Where does that energy go? Who takes accountability for that? How is that accountability distributed, right? These are the things that one should be questioning, right? And I know in different religious texts, right, there's contradictions, right? It's not only in one religious text. In several religious texts, there are contradictions regarding these things, right? So the aim is to whatever religious text you are using or reading, to bring yourself in alignment with that text, right? Bring yourself in alignment or harmony with whatever. Align the text and align yourself, right? Regarding what makes sense and does not make sense, right? Use logic, use reasoning, use your heart, right? Using logic is helping people to not take these scriptures literally, but to use reasoning, use logic, and use your heart in aligning yourself and aligning the text in which you're reading, right? So that's a job for everybody to do. That's not a job for one person to do, right? So you analyze the material dwell on it, on the verses, analyze the material, dwell on the verses, and what makes sense to you. You communicate it to your own self and share the information, right? Communicate it to yourself. Make sure you stand on that information first of all. Stand on that information, right? That you communicate to yourself based on what you extract from that, and communicate that information to the world in your own way, right? That is what I am encouraging people to do. It's nothing more, nothing less, right? Aligning yourself with whatever is reasonable, logical, and heart-centered in your religious text. Discard the rest, right? Because trust me, I've read some things that I really don't want to be a part of, and I've seen some things I really don't want to be a part of, right? So that's just, and people will hate me for this video, right? But it doesn't matter. Those things doesn't matter, right? So it's to just stand on what you communicate out there to the world, right? And let that be, right? That being said, I didn't do my yoga before this video, but I'll do it after, right? So that's all to say is nerve-wracking making this video, because you know it's like energies from the entire world is against what you are trying to communicate, and that could be a bit problematic sometimes, right? That could be a little bit problematic sometimes, but that's all right. Taking it one step at a time and moving forward. Like I say, whatever way that you choose to communicate your information to the world, you feel free to communicate that information out there. Everybody is in a search for truth after all, right? So I am asking people to go beyond search for truth in a physical sense. Go beyond search for truth in a physical sense, meaning, hey, this is healthy for my body, this is not healthy for my body, this is that for my body, this is not that for my body. And use a more heart-centered approach in how you search for truth. And use a more heart-centered approach in your search for truth, and not just think with regard to this physical body, this physical body, this physical body, right? Because there are lots of things involved, right? There are people involved, there are ethics involved, there are morals involved, right? So I ask some people to think about life, think about religion, right? Think about life, think about religion, think about science, think about all these different facets of life from a more heart-centered approach, such that we wouldn't have to learn lessons the hard way, right? We wouldn't have to learn consequences the hard way if we do the right thing from day one, right? So take care, everybody. Have a good evening.